Welcome to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
Three More Stories by C J Cannatelli. Proper inspection. Every year, one unfortunate human being between the ages of 16 and 24 is selected to represent the entire species. In the eyes of who, or should I say, what has selected them, they are very lucky and should consider this the highest honor. These individuals will simply be listed as missing persons, and the remains will never be discovered, as they are already long gone. The reasoning behind this selection is simple. They pick the very best of the best for proper inspection. That's right. You remember that kid back in high school who might have just vanished without a trace? That kid with straight A's, great physical attributes, and all the friends they could ever want? Is it very possible that they were selected to represent all of humanity in the eyes of something even greater? And if that is the case, you should take a moment to thank them. After this person is selected, it's up to these creatures to decide whether or not the human race deserves to survive another year. These results are based slowly upon the intelligence, strength, endurance, and general progress in the last year of the human being selected. They will be put through a series of tests. The results of these tests will determine the fate of humanity. If this person passes the test, they will be forgotten by the human race, slowly but surely throughout a period of time, depending on just how important the person might have been. They will die a quick, painless death, and considered a tribute to perpetuate the survival of their species. As they already know too much, it would be impossible to just set them free. It's obvious that someone has never before failed this exam. If they had, humanity would be gone forever in the blink of an eye. However, if someone were to fail this test, it would result in a slow and painful demise for them. They would be eaten alive by the supposed scientists giving this exam as punishment for their failure. The rest of humanity would be destroyed as well. You might be wondering how I can be so sure of all this. These creatures, almost similar to humans, are all-knowing. They are always watching our flaws and failures, keeping a steady tally to make sure we aren't hurting anyone other than ourselves. The moment our race does more evil than good, we will surely be destroyed. I know this because, well, I'm very lucky, you see. I've been selected to represent you all this year. Sandman. We've all heard the adorable legends of the Sandman. As a child, your parents described the sensation of sleep collapsing into your world as a simple act of the Sandman sending you to dream world. Our parents used this simple phrase because they never knew the truth about the Sandman. Their parents never knew the truth, and it's likely that their parents' parents never knew either. Everyone who knows the truth about the Sandman doesn't typically live to tell the story. I know it's only a matter of time before I join them. I just need to get this out. Not for my sake, but to warn others before I finish what he started. I needed to get this out before it happens to someone else. It needs to happen before he comes back. He waits. God, he always waits, listening to your heartbeat in the darkened room. He waits for you to fall asleep. The Sandman was never the reason for your slumber. No, no, no. He was the reason you might never wake up. He's the reason children die in the night. It was never for any particular purpose. I know that now. He does it for the thrill of the hunt. He has to stalk, listen, and carefully, oh, so carefully, suck the life out of the child before they wake up. It's a challenge for him, you see, and if the child wakes up in the middle of it, well, he has to leave. It forces him out of the room, but that's the child's only freebie. After that, he gains the ability to access their soul, even when they're awake. This is what happened to me. I woke up. All I did was open my eyes, hearing a bump in the night. A hooded figure stood at the foot of my bed, not moving, but simply watching me. He'd only come to watch. But now that I've seen him, I didn't stand a chance. He would surely be after me. He would make certain I never made it to my 13th birthday. He chased me, followed me everywhere I went. No matter where I hide, he always finds me. So I found something of my own. Dad left the bedroom door unlocked when him and Mom left for work this morning. Oh, what luck, what luck, what luck. Now it can be quick. Yes, it can be quick for me, as I found the gun they store in my father's nightstand. It took me a while, but I figured out how to load it. I'm writing this on my Ninja Turtles notebook. It's my favorite one. I hear him. He's outside the bedroom, but he won't wait out there for much longer. I don't have much more time, so I have to do it now. Remember, if you hear something in your room at night, don't open your eyes. I know it's only natural, but don't, please don't. He'll come. It's safer with the lights out. Mom, can we keep the nightlight on? Deanna asked as her mother tucked her into bed for what must have been the 7th time. Deanna's mother put her long manicured nails in her hair and scratched repeatedly. This was a common gesture from Mrs. Perez when she became exasperated. She wore her typical satin green pajamas and a sleep mask on her head, pushed just above her brow line. The white paste from her nightly facial treatment had already dried and left her skin ghostly pale in comparison with her naturally tan complexion. "No, Mama," she replied, trying her best to be patient with her daughter. "You're getting older now. You're turning 10 tomorrow. You should try and sleep with the light off." "Mom, no," Deanna begged. Tears welled up in her eyes as she tugged at her mother's heartstrings. Please, please no. Her mother sighed quietly. All right, fine. But tomorrow we're going to try this again. You need rest, and it's almost 11, and your party starts at 10 tomorrow. Thanks, Mom. Deanna grinned as her mother switched on the little star-shaped nightlight next to the door. It glowed subtly in the darkness, giving Deanna a small bit of light. Her mother kissed her on the forehead once more and made her way to the door. She paused and smiled at her daughter. My big girl, she cooed softly. 10 years old. Good night. Sweet dreams. Buenas noches. I love you. Good night. Sweet dreams. Buenas noches. I love you, Deanna repeated. This was a part of their nightly routine. Neither Deanna nor her mother could sleep without that comfort phrase. It was a tradition that had been passed down from Deanna's abuelita. The next morning came, and Deanna helped her parents set up her party decorations. She always enjoyed spending time with her parents around holidays, including but not limited to her birthday. This is it, she thought. The big 10. Deanna contemplated changes in her life. She knew she would still go to school. She would still have the same friends and the same great life. But she wanted to be more mature. She wore her new clothes, consisting of a black dress and a pair of pumps with a half-inch heel that her mother got for her for the occasion. She felt so much older since the night before. She felt like she was ready for middle school. Mira, her father smiled, putting his hand on her shoulder. We're all set. Your friends are getting here in an hour. Come help me with the rice. Deanna smiled. I want extra granules. Then that's what you shall have, sweetie, he nodded. Deanna and her father loved cooking together. While her mother frosted the chocolate birthday cake, Deanna lectured her father on seasoning the rice he had been making since before she was born. Both Mr. and Mrs. Perez found this endearing. They were certain that their baby girl was growing up. The children arrived, and Deanna had the time of her life. It was so exciting being the oldest girl in her group of friends. She felt like the pack leader and wanted nothing more than to impress her peers with her newfound maturity. She even boasted that she wasn't going to sleep with the nightlight anymore. Presents poured in, and Deanna's mother filmed the whole thing. Deanna received several new outfits and things of the sort. Ultimately, her favorite gifts were from her parents. They had saved up and bought smart plugs and an Amazon Alexa. Deanna had seen a commercial online and wanted desperately to have a smart room. She couldn't even wait until after everyone had left to rush upstairs to set everything up. Her mother helped her get the room sorted out, but her father seemed rather clueless as to how it all worked. When they got all of the smart plugs working, he scratched his head. Well, this is the future, I guess, he chuckled. That night, Deanna didn't fight her mother about the nightlight. She had her mother unplug it and throw it away in the kitchen. The room was flooded with blackness the moment Mrs. Perez left her alone. Deanna hid under her blankets, feeling a tinge of anxiety. This was different from the night before. Something felt wrong. Something was different. This time there was no nightlight to be turned on. Deanna waited for her parents' bedroom to close with a squeal before she took out her smartphone and began playing with Alexa. The volume was turned down low so her parents wouldn't hear it. If they did hear their daughter, they ignored it and went to sleep. They were trying to give her a bit more freedom in honor of her birthday. Deanna got some music playing quietly. She began to drift away to dreamland after about an hour of testing out her new smart room. Her eyelids grew heavy like a stack of textbooks. She heard a small tapping, no, a rapping, coming from next to her bed. She peered out from under her blankets and saw nothing in the black void that was her bedroom. She was paralyzed, afraid to ask Alexa to turn the lights on. Instead, she opened the Alexa app and commanded her silently to turn the lights on with a tap of a button. The room flooded with light. Feeling braver, she peeked out from under the heavy comforter and covered her mouth to prevent a scream. There, in front of her bedroom door, was what appeared to be a naked, emaciated creature. It stood upright like a person, but its long arms nearly touched the floor. The body proportions were way off. Its head was hanging down low to its chest. Its neck appeared to curve down and back up. Without thinking, Deanna quickly shut the light off with the Alexa app. Just like that, the creature was gone. Deanna assumed she just couldn't see the creature lingering in the shadows. She texted her parents for help, too afraid to let out a cry. Mr. and Mrs. Perez were exhausted from their daughter's party, and they both left their phones on silent. They didn't notice the repeated text messages coming through. Trying to be brave, Deanna threw the covers off of her and sat up abruptly. Her eyes scanned the room, but there was clearly nothing there. Deanna stood up and walked to the center of her room. She checked under her bed and in her closet, but found nothing. She wondered if she was losing her mind. She sat on the edge of her bed and giggled nervously. Maybe she'd dozed off and had a nightmare. Thinking that was the case, she bravely spoke to her smart companion. "Alexa, lights on," she commanded. The room became illuminated almost instantly. Deanna's breath caught in her throat. The creature was now leaning over her, grinning to reveal a dozen rows of razor-sharp needle teeth. Finally catching her breath, Deanna let out a guttural cry. The creature attacked in that moment, tearing Deanna to shreds before her parents could even reach her room. When they did, all they found was the bloody remains of their daughter, scattered around the young girl's smart room. So quoth this raven. My thanks to CJ for her lovely stories, and my thanks to you, my dear subscribers, and all the new ones who have come on board the last few weeks. I'm so happy to have you here. A special thanks to my Patreon supporters, Ermin Case, Darren and Jennifer Daw, and Kolestinik. If you like this, please hit the little button to let me know. If you didn't, hit the little button to let me know. Leave a comment. I'm always glad to talk with you, my darlings. I'm open to suggestions and criticisms, critiques. If you have not subscribed, please do so and ring the little bell so you know when to come up and see me. And I will talk to you next time, my darlings. Farewell.